train, and we're going to be traveling from Milan to Rome with Metallica to celebrate the release of their new album out on Monday. So you can of course watch out for Metallica interviews and loads of Metallica videos, including the brand new clip Until It Sleeps. So there's definitely no sleep until Rome, and you can check out a whole load of Metallica on tonight's edition of Headbangers Ball.
Something to do with young men killing each other, I believe.
When it comes my turn, will you want me to go?
Well, we promised you a load of Metallica tonight, and that's exactly what you're going to get. And we just kicked off with the most requested ever video at Headbangers Ball 1, and of course that's from 88, 89, but of course it's 96 right now, and tonight we're talking a load, and we've joined Kirk and Lars on the Metalli train traveling from Milan to Rome. So pleasure to have you guys back on Headbangers Ball. And first of all, just to really explain, the album's out on Monday, so you've been doing a lot of promotion. What's involved on today's trip?
Usually when you get on a train, you go from one space to another and just get off. But on this particular train, we have a bunch of journalists who were talking to in between points. And when we stop, there's a lot of fan club members and fans who we've been meeting and greeting and signing autographs with and taking pictures with and talking to. So it's pretty fun.
Certainly is. It's an unusual way to promote an album. But going straight in to talk about the new record, you've talked a lot in interviews about the kind of looser approach. I remember that word being used back at actually Donington last summer when I talked to you last. Was that coming about because you wanted to actually enjoy the recording of this album?
I think the songs that we had written just called for more of a capturing an attitude or a moment or a spark in the studio than going for something that was really, really perfect. So I think it really is a result of the songwriting. At the same time, listening back to where we had been before and so on, I really felt that we needed to try and bring more of the energy and the kind of interplay between the four of us that happens on stage and the power that happens when we play live into the records. I still felt that even as we were loosening up more and more up through the Black Album and stuff like that, we still had quite a ways to go, and really, as far as I was concerned, that was the main criteria for Load, was to try and really capture a looser Metallica that much more involved both Kirk and Jason also.
Well, we're going into the video, the first video from Load, Until It Sleeps, and if we could talk a little bit about the video before we see it. I was very surprised when I saw the video. It's very bright, very colourful, very avant-garde. Why did you think that the time was right? Why did you think the time was right to do a video of this style?
Well, all our previous videos have always been of us performing in some sort of context or another, whether it's on stage or in the studio, and we felt it was time to actually fool around with different types of imagery to get a song across. And so we worked with this director named Samuel Bayer, who worked with that one band,
Nirvana.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and we worked with him, we felt that we needed to do something drastically different from our past videos, and that's what you see.
Right.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, let's check it out now. It's a dark and brooding song, but a very colourful video. The first from Load. This is Metallica, Until It Sleeps.
Where do I take this pain of mine? I run, but it stays.
There you go, that was Skid Row, who of course played with Metallica when they took a day out of the studio from recording Load to headline Donington Monsters of Rock last summer. And just a quick news about Donington 96. It's going to be a double headliner. Kiss and Ozzy Osbourne and Sepultura have also been added to the bill, all taking place on the 17th of August, and we'll be updating you as we get nearer to the great day. And as you can see, Kirk is still with me. No escape from the Metallica train. And a little earlier we saw the video, Kirk, for Until It Sleeps, and you've actually done a remix on that by Moby. Whose idea was that, and what did you think of the end result?
Well, we're always interested in having other artists reinterpret our material. There's this German band called de-interlaced that did a tribute to Metallica, and we really enjoyed that. And so I kind of like planted the seed for that sort of thinking. And one day we were just sitting around and we were thinking about new things for B-sides, and the idea came up of like getting someone to like remix every single that we put out. And originally we wanted to do the Chemical Brothers to remix this single, but they weren't available because we called them and like told them we needed it yesterday.
As you do.
Yeah, but they're busy doing something, so I suggested Moby, and he was already in New York, so what we ended up doing is sending him the tapes, and like the next day he brought us back this remix, and we really, really like it.
Tear me open.
Gives you a fresh perspective on the song, and I like it quite a bit. I think it's really heavy too.
I mean, like you said, there's so many new things going on, the new logo, the new image, the new photos. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But can I just get your perspective on the way you worked on this album, because how you came up with this kind of looser, kind of bluesier, you've used the word greasier feel. How did Bob Rock work under those circumstances?
Well, Bob was always interested in capturing the live essence of the band on vinyl, or actually on CD, and that was the concept that we shot for on the previous album, and we captured some of it, but not completely. And I feel on this album we definitely have, because live James and I are playing rhythm guitar simultaneously. And on previous albums, there's always James doing all the rhythms, so everything was like doubled really, really perfectly, and it gave it kind of a sterile kind of feel, and so we wanted to get away from that. So I played rhythm on this album, and that's more similar to the way we play live. It's both playing live, and that contributed to the live feel, and. Bob it was initially Bob's idea for us to do that, and looking back, we all agreed that this is something we should have tried a long time ago. It just took us 14 years to get around to it. I like to say that there's a new guitar player in Metallica, and it's me.
That's great. I think that's really interesting. Thank you for telling us that. Okay, well, we have to go to our first short break, because I'm sure a tunnel's going to come along any minute and send us completely to black. So before that, we'll take our break, and then after our first short break, guess what? We've got loads more Metallica. So stick around. More talk of the album coming up after these messages.
Feeling a little.
Headbangers Ball, we're on board the Metallica train, and we're just pulling up in Florence now, and as you can see there's a bit of a signing frenzy going on, but I've got Kirk here, and I just wanted to talk about the album artwork. It's taken from a photograph called Blood and Semen.
Semen and Blood.
Semen and Blood, let's get this right here.
It's called Semen and Blood 3.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit about the photograph and why you chose it.
Well, it's not really considered a photograph. It's the artist likes to consider it as a piece of art, but it's by this guy named Andre Serrano who's done a few things in America and has gotten himself in trouble a few times in America for doing things like putting a crucifix in a big vat of piss and calling it Piss Christ. And I bought one of his books called Body and Soul, and I was flipping through the book, and I'd seen the picture, and I thought, wow, that's really beautiful. That would be great if we could use this as a front cover for our album. I showed it to this guy, and he loved it, and so we kind of like, you know, sold it to the other guys. And what it is it's the artist's own semen and beef blood, and it's a picture of it. Yeah, it's very
Something a bit
abstract.
different to the Metallica album.
Yeah, well, it's like something we were looking for, a really strong sort of image, you know, very beautiful, very abstract, something that tied in with, you know, the concept of the album, which is actually no concept at all. And we wanted something that, you know, people can look at and interpret in any different way. The good thing about this cover is you look at it and you go, wow, that's really great. I wonder what it is. And when you really find out what it is, it takes on an entirely different meaning. Yeah.
And of course, the album title, Load, that seems to have a lot of different connotations to different people. I mean, there's the obvious things, but there's possibly a sexual reference as well. I mean, like
that's the idea. Yeah, it's especially since, you know, the album's called Load. and you know, American slang, you know, shoot your load. I mean, you know, it's just like, you know. But that wasn't intentional at all. That really had nothing to do with the picking of the title or our choice in using that piece of art. And so
who thought of Load? Because I think it actually works really well.
Yeah, actually, I think it was Lars's title. And so.
Well, I'll let you get back to your signing because there's a gentleman. Yeah, they are. So we'll be catching up with some more Metallica Train action in a few moments. But right now, we're going to say goodbye to one of Britain's top bands, The Almighty. They're releasing their very final signal from the album Just Add Life. This is The Almighty. Au revoir, amigos. Saying goodbye with Do You Understand? Well, it's pretty chaotic here on the Metallica Train. The fans have been listening to the new record, and now they, as you can see, get to meet the
Now
band.
they're leaving in hordes.
They have to get off at Florence, which is where we're pulling up to. So, Lars, if I can just corner you for a few minutes. Everything is so different on this album. The imagery, the logo, the photos of the band, and also the cover is so different to the Black Album. Now, has Metallica reinvented itself?
Well, it has only been half a decade since the last one.
Well, this is true.
All right. So I don't know. I just looked at some of these things and it's got a little bored with them. One day I was looking at the logo going, this is kind of boring. Maybe we should try something else.
Maybe we should have tried that. Turning
Where's that from?
letters sideways.
Why did we get that before?
Yeah, that's
Just
God.
we
Someone's
always laugh
fired.
at the line.
Someone's fired.
So it was just time to oh, you want that back? It was time to try a few different things. I think the most dangerous thing a band can do is become totally stagnant.
You become a parody of yourself, don't you?
Yeah, I just think that, you know, that you should always follow your instincts, follow your gut feelings, and just I looked at the logo and I called up James and said, why don't we try and see what would happen if we put a new logo together. It was a decision that took literally 3 minutes or something. It was not like, oh, we're screwing with this holy icon or whatever, like people are now starting to react to. But the point is that we have the power to change these things, and we need to do it for ourselves once in a while to kind of
Keep things fresh.
keep things fresh for us. And I do believe that when it's fresh for us and it's more exciting for us than for everybody else, that kind of attitude translates onto the fans really well.
Now, the album is out on Monday in Europe, and we've only heard Until It Sleeps via the video. So what do you think is going to surprise fans most about the album? Because people have been saying that you've been saying that the kind of metal side of things has been pushed back a little bit.
Well, I'm realizing now that, I mean, I've lived with the record for almost 3 weeks, and I can definitely hear that the sort of the metal staccato guitars and stuff like that obviously aren't there anymore. But I think that the record itself, is still really heavy. It's actually, I think it's a lot heavier than the Black Album. I think the most thing that's going to surprise people is the consistency of the record. It's an hour and 20 minutes long. I don't think it ever really dips anywhere. When I hear the Black Album now, there's a couple places where I thought it dipped a little bit, and So I think people, especially if they're gauging Until It Sleeps as, you know, sort of like, okay, this is what the new record it's like. I mean, that's just, I mean, let's not bullshit each other here. You put singles out, you know, you want to put a single out that would indicate something different, and obviously a song that, you know, is a good single. I mean, that's why you put singles out. But I mean, the rest of the record is pretty different than that. Take my word for it.
No, I agree, and it is heavy, and perhaps in a different way. And also, of course, the lyrics are very heavy as well. But we'll talk about those a bit later on. Right. Okay, well, we're heading off to the station right now to meet some more Metallica fans, but we have to go to our next break. After the break, we're going to also be checking out the new video from Sabotage, so watch out for that, and loads more Metallica coming up after these messages.
Oh dear, it's happening again. You get that summer festival feeling, and you just can't stop it. Check MTV for a daily update of what's hot and where.
As you can see, the Metallica train has arrived in Florence, and it is complete chaos here. Hundreds of fans waiting to meet the band. Is every day like this on a Metallica day?
Pretty much. I mean, you know, what we're trying to do here is try and meet as many fans along the way as we can during this press tour. And we've stopped at various listening parties and various fan club gatherings to meet the fans and sign some autographs, get some pictures taken. And we have our own train now. We've graduated from having the Metallica truck to having the Metallica train. And of course, you know, the Metallica plane is back in the States.
Well, you certainly are meeting a lot of fans on this trip. Can we talk about the album again? There has been a lot of talk about the kind of bluesy riffs that you came up with, Kirk. Would you say that they were the foundation for the new sound?
I wouldn't say it's so much a foundation as it has been more of an addition to the new sound. We try to like move into new and different musical areas and directions, and this bluesy kind of feel that we put in the songs is just another way of, you know, going into a different direction and feeling it out and making it work for us, basically.
And there has also been a lot of comments in the interviews that it's a lot more of a band effort this time, but Jason didn't actually get a single writing credit. Can you explain that?
Basically because a lot of the stuff that Jason writes is very similar to where we've been in the last 12 years or so. And we weren't really interested in going and using, you know, riffs and pieces of music that sounded like that. Though on the next album he gets a credit on a song.
Thank you for explaining that.
No problem.
All right, well, we're going to go to some more music right now, and we're going to check out Sabotage, who were playing at the Dynamo Festival in Holland last weekend, and here they come with their new video, One Child. Headbangers Ball is kicking it here on the Metallica train heading towards Rome, and James and Jason are in the far east, but we've got Kirk and Lars to tell us all about Load out on Monday. And I know that James wrote all the lyric, Lars, but I was wondering if you could give us a little bit of a perspective, because it seems to me that he views life from an unusual perspective.
Ow! We're in a tunnel. Hey, we lived. We lived through it. Yes, James does actually, he's a very angry young man. Well, I guess he's not so young anymore. But no, he's got his own twist on the rest of the world. I think what sets this album apart from what we've been before is that after some of those quote-unquote concept records we did in the mid-'80s, that what we've been really trying to make the lyrics more personal. James is trying to reach further in this time and get some stuff that's been dormant in there for a few years out. I think the main thing about this record is that there really is no theme. The theme is actually that there is no theme. The album title is just there by itself. The visual on the front cover doesn't tie in with the album title. All the 14 songs aren't lyrically or subject-wise sort of intertwined or anything like that. Each song is its own type of thing, and I think they're written in a very, very, very vague way, which means that these lyrics can be interpreted much more than ever before with our stuff from very, very many different points of view. I think if you lined up 10 people around here, that give you 10 different meanings of what the lyrics were about. And the interesting thing about James this time around is that he's a lot less interested in talking about it, which is why they send us, so we'll sit and talk to them about the lyrics.
He basically just passed the buck on to us so that we can explain it for him.
Well, that's great. Thank you for that. And just quickly, Kirk, in the 5 years between Load and the previous album, did a lot of things happen to kind of change and influence this record just in that 5-year period?
Huh? Yeah, a lot of things happened in the last 5 years. I mean, we've grown as individuals, we've matured as individuals, and as a result of that, we've matured musically, and I think that shows on this album. We've also listened to a lot of different types of music. I've been listening to a lot of blues and jazz. James has been listening to country western. We all still listen to late 70s hard rock, and I think that's made its way onto the album in very, very subtle ways.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay, well, we got to go to our next short break very quickly before we go into another tunnel, but stick around, more Metallica action to come right after this break, and more talk of the new album Load, so see ya in a few minutes. Demand, that was Korn kicking it live at Oakland Coliseum with Bull Tongue! All right, the Metallica wine has been drunk. The Metallica train has arrived in Rome. Here we are. And wherever Metallica go, it seems to be chaos today, but it's a lot of fun. So, more questions, guys. When Metallica formed back in 1981, it seemed that you were always going against the grain and kind of opposing what was going on at the time. Do you still think that to be the case in 96?
We're going against the grain from the point of view that we're totally still doing what we want. And we're totally still doing, I think, we keep throwing curveballs at people. We keep doing things that are unexpected. I think every time we put a record out, people don't really know what it's going to be. And I think at least we've set a pattern with that I really like. And once again with Load and this album 6, that we've been able to kind of fulfill that and live up to that. So I think going against the grain for me means that we always just do something different. And so I'm pretty happy with that.
Do you think that the new album kind of challenges the listener?
Absolutely. It definitely is something that I mean, there are definitely things on the album that people won't expect to hear, and once they hear it, it's gonna challenge them to like rethink the way they hear Metallica, and I think that's a really good thing.
It's really healthy.
Really,
it's very healthy.
You talked also a little bit about going back. A lot of people have been saying more to kind of the 70s kind of vibe.
That was, less on purpose. I hear we've been doing promotion and press and stuff all over the world for the last 3 weeks. We make a record pretty instinctively with the blinders on, blah, blah, blah. Then we're done with it. Then we give it to everybody else, and they kind of come back to us with what they think, and you start hearing a lot of opinions and blah, blah, blah. A lot of people seem to think that this record has a lot of roots in 70s hard rock, which I'm totally comfortable, because as you know,
we listen to a lot of 70s hard rock still to this day.
So what of the things that you've had and the feedback you've had so far, what surprised you the most? What's been the weirdest thing somebody has said about the new record?
Someone was telling me that they expected this album to sound like U2 or Nine Inch Nails or the Foo Fighters. And
Well, I can tell you all it doesn't.
that was really, really interesting for me. I mean, the expectations on this album I knew were high, but I didn't know that people expected us to change that drastically. I mean, we have changed, but it hasn't been that drastic of a change for us to sound like U2.
I think the best thing about the last 3 weeks and the feedback is that people are receiving this record a lot better than I actually thought they would. I think they're receiving it better than the Black Album. When we did exactly what we're doing now 5 years ago for the Black album. The reception was, I say, lukewarm to good. The reception on this one is like really good to like stunning, so I'm pleasantly surprised.
Well, let's hope that people are going to view it with an open mind, because that's important. Well, the video for Until It's Sleep has only just come out, but here at Headbangers Ball we are already trying to decide the best video of '96, and you, the viewers of Headbangers Ball, can once again
Alice in Chains, what's the new one called?
Oasis.
No. What's the new Alice in Chains?
Heaven Beside You.
No.
Rush.
No,
No.
not
Rush.
Whatever, because it's Alice in Chains Grind that's one of the nominations. So actually what we're going to do right now is check out the 7 nominations for Best Video at this year's Kerrang Awards, and vote now, because you are going to choose the best video of the year. So after that, more Metallica. See ya.
No.
Well, the Metallica album has been cranked. The Metallica fans have had hundreds of posters, CDs and pictures signed. It's the end of a very long day. There's nowhere left to roam. We've reached the end of the show and the end of our journey. And just before we go, I'd just like to say to the guys about touring. Now, obviously, looking forward to Lollapalooza stateside.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's anytime we go into an environment that we don't know that much about, it's always fun. There's been a lot of, as you're probably aware of, debate in America about whether Metallica should play Lollapalooza, whether Lollapalooza should have come to Metallica, and I think that I can't wait to get it going, because once we get out and play the first show and get up on stage and play our 90 minutes, all those preconceived notions about what's going to happen is just going to fall to the wayside, and we're just going to kick everybody's ass, and it's going to be great.
I believe it.
Yeah, it's going to be really great playing with the bands that we're touring with too, like Soundgarden and the Ramones, and it's going to be wonderful. I'm really looking forward to it. This summer is going to be pretty cool.
Excellent. And the all-important question for us in Europe is, when can we expect to see Metallica on tour in Europe?
We're playing our first show September 11th in Kiel. So we start in Germany, and we work our way all the way throughout Europe, and we'll definitely be playing some dates in England. Yeah, quite a few dates in England. Also,
Oh, I'm sure we'll.
Yeah. And just remember, MTV goes throughout all of Europe, so we'll be playing all of Europe for about 3 or 4 months till the end of November.
and England also.
Earl's Court, like Oasis.
Brilliant. Well, I want to wish you lots and lots of luck with that, and I'd really like to say an enormous thank you to both of you for your time today. I've seen how busy it is, a day in the life of Metallica, and believe you me, it's been non-stop. And actually, personally, I'd like to say a big thank you to all the Italian fans for making me feel so welcome here. Have you got a final message for the fans in Europe?
First, I got to say thanks to, like you said, to all the Italian people all day. I mean, the energy and the support from all these people has been absolutely tremendous, and we've been running around Europe for the last 2 weeks doing this stuff, and the energy and the support and the gratitude and the everything that we feel from all you guys, we just want to say thank you, and we'll see you guys in September, October, November of this year for the Metallica tour.
Anything from you?
Yeah, thanks for the enthusiastic response that we've been getting at all the listening parties, and the Metallica truck, and the Metallica train and everything else, and we'll see you guys on tour.
Brilliant. Well, that's just about it then. Once again, many, many thanks to Metallica. I've had a brilliant time here. Lots of luck with the new record. And you can get a load of Load on Monday. It's out on Monday, so check it out. It's a killer album, and I know you're going to enjoy it. So that's it. We're signing off from Italy. We've had a brilliant time. You'll see these guys on tour in the autumn. You'll see me next week with a special from the Dynamo Festival in Holland. But for tonight, we're saying ciao from Italy. See ya.